Hello and good morning, everyone. Am I audible and visible to all of you? Just raise hands and let me know that I am audible and visible. Okay, great. So, as I remember in the last class, we were discussing static friction and we had done some problems on static friction. Today probably would be the last class on static friction and Newton laws of motion, and we'll try to wind up this topic. Before winding up this topic, let us solve some more interesting problems. And what I'll do is I'll start today's problem with this one. Today's class with this problem. Let us say if you can. Now remember, now whatever problems I give you, I might give you both what? Let us see. This is 37-degree inclined plane. A block of mass m is kept on this inclined plane. This inclined plane is definitely rough. The value of mu s is 1. And one more thing is given, the value of mu k. Mu k is half. Remember, mu k is always less than 1, is always less than mu s. Here I have given one as 1 and the other one as half. Now, the series of questions starts. Number 1, does the body move or accelerate? Number 2, what type of friction acts on it? Type of friction. Number 3, the value of frictional force. If there is friction, friction would always be there. What is the value of friction? Number 4, what is the value of limiting friction? Number 5, what is the angle of repose of this body and the inclined plane? Number 6, does the body accelerate? You have to tell me yes or no. Number 7, if it accelerates, what is the acceleration? So these are the different questions that I have put. You can solve this. That means you know whatever we have discussed in the previous class. A block of mass m kept on a rough inclined plane at an angle of 37 degrees. Value of mu s and mu k are given to you. Let's see who can do this. Let us solve the problems one by one. Just draw these axes. Let us look at the answer for the first question. First question. Does it move? Yes or no? If you think it is yes, please raise your hands. Does this block move? I'm asking question to everyone in the class. Does the block move? Yes or no? Then only two answers possible. If you think it is yes, please raise your hands. Else I will take it to be no. No one understands the question? Am I audible and visible to all of you? Does the block move? Yes or no? If you think it is no, please raise your hands. I see only one raised hand at the back. And that's it. What about the others? Are we there in the class, or are we still, our souls are wandering in the universe and looking for something which is not there? Are we all in the class? Can I have some raise hand from all of you? All of you raise hands. Wake up. High time that you wake up. Great. Put your hands down. Now the question comes. Does the block move or not? And the answer is the block moves. Why does the block move? If you look at the value of mu s is 1. Now this mu s is equal to, remember, this mu s is equal to tan of alpha, where alpha is the angle of repose. Alpha is the angle of repose. So how much is alpha? Alpha is 45 degrees. Angle of repose is 45 degrees. Will the block move? Or not? Do you remember what we had done in the previous class? No one is answering anything. So I'll give you 5 minutes. Just go through what we had done in the previous class. Then we will start the class again. I don't think you are able to understand what we are doing in the class. Everyone is sitting like dumb. Go through what we had done in the previous class, because I think that this class is simply a waste of time. You are not understanding anything that is happening in the class. I must tell you that the NEET wala students are way better than you guys. Way better than you guys. Sometimes I feel that the NEET students are JEE students and JEE students are class 9 students. So I hope you are not putting in enough work. So what I would suggest is, please go through the notes once. Please go through the note once. Okay. Oops. Okay. So angle of repose, I think you remember, is 45 degrees. Now this angle which you see here, this angle which you see here is less than 45 degrees. It is 37 degrees. So will the block move? And the answer is no, sir. The block will not move. The block will remain at rest. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Okay. Now, let us go on to the second question. What type of friction will act? What type of friction will act? If the block remains at rest, the type of friction that will act will be static friction, Fs. The third question, what will be the value of this static friction? What will be the value of this static friction? For that, you'll have to draw the free body diagram. Are you there with me? This is mg. This is mg cos 45. Cos 45 is 4 by 5. So this is 4 by 5 mg. This is 3 by 5 mg. It is not going anywhere. It is at rest. So something must be stopping it. That something is my static friction, Fs. What is the value of static friction? I hope you know this. The value of static friction would be how much? The value of static friction would be 3 by 5 mg. Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Well done. Wake up, beta, wake up, wake up. This is a wake up call. Wake up, wake up. This is my normal reaction N. We all know normal reaction N. Normal reaction N. And this normal reaction N will be equal to 4 by 5 mg. How do I find the value of limiting friction? Limiting friction is mu multiplied by n. Mu is 1. N is 4 by 5 mg. So this becomes 4 by 5 mg. The next question is, what is the angle of repose? The yellow one, the angle of repose is definitely 45 degrees. So the answer is 45 degrees. Next question is, does it accelerate? No, it remains at rest. So the answer is no. The last is, what is the acceleration? If it does not accelerate, the acceleration has to be 0. Do you all understand this? All the 7 parts of the question. Can I have some raise hand that we understand this, sir? Okay. Please note this down. I'll give you a minute to note this down, because then we will be moving on to the next question. And if you don't solve it, well, I will be very sad if you don't do this. And I hope it makes a difference to your life. 45. Okay, I'm not going to say the question. I'm giving you time to note down the answer. Till then, I am making the next question. I hope you all have written the parts of the previous question. Here comes the next one. As you can see, again, I have a block of mass M kept on an inclined plane, which is rough. Angle is 45 degrees. The value of mu s is given as 3 by 4. The value of mu k is given as half. And here comes the set of questions, similar set. Number 1, does the block move? Number 2, what was number 2 there? I forgot. What was number 2 there? Okay, type of friction. Number 2 is type of friction. Type of friction. Number 3 is value of friction. Number 4 is the value of limiting friction. Number 5 is angle of repose. Number 6 is, does the block accelerate? Number 7 is, find the acceleration. So you have a minute, 2 minutes to solve this question. I would be very glad. Trust me, the NEET Wala batch was able to do this question. So if you can't do this question on your own, you can judge yourself how good or how bad you are. I will always give you a judging scale. NEET Wala students were able to do this. So that's your judging scale. And when I give you the example of NEET Wala student, I don't mean to degrade anyone, but I always feel for NEET students, physics is the toughest. And for JE1, physics should not be the toughest. So if NEET student can do this, for whom it is supposed to be tough, you should be able to do it. That is the gauge. The gauge is not that NEET students are less than you in any way. They are probably doing more hard work, better way than probably engineering wala students do. Engineering wala students have only got to deal with 3 subjects. NEET wala students have to deal with 4. So the question comes, okay, let us try to solve it one by one. Question number 1, does the block move? Now, how do you find whether the block moves or not? So either the answer is yes or the answer is no. How many for yes? How many think that the answer is yes? Please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I think 6 people think that it is yes. I'll take that the rest of you think that it is no. Now remember, we are not playing Kaun Banega Crorepati that we guess. If there is a yes, we have to know why it is a yes. If it is a no, you should know why it is a no. Now why it is a yes or why it is a no. Look at the value of mu s over here. Mu s is 3 by 4. Now you have to find out whether it is the angle it is given. If this angle is more than the angle of repose, it will move. If it is less than the angle of repose, it will not move. I hope you remember it. Now we all know that mu s is tan of alpha, where alpha is the angle of repose. From here, you can find the value of tan of alpha. Tan of alpha is 3 by 4. If tan of alpha is 3 by 4, my alpha becomes 37 degrees. We have done it so many times in trigonometry. Tan of 37 is 3 by 4. You must be knowing it. Once you know tan of 37 is 3 by 4 and alpha is 3 by 4, we have two answers. The angle of repose is also known. The angle of repose becomes 37 degrees. And the answer for this question becomes yes, the block moves. Do we have concurrence? Do we understand this? Can I have some reason that we understand this? Great. Now, since the block moves, let us now worry about the second part. What type of friction will act? If the block moves, what type of friction will act? Answer is also simple. If the block moves, the type of friction which acts will be known as kinetic friction. It will be Fk, kinetic. Now, if it is Fk, the third question tells us to find the value of Fk. I have to find the value of Fk, kinetic friction. So what do? I draw the free body diagram. This is mg. This is mg cos 45. Cos 45 is 1 by root 2. So this becomes mg by root 2. This becomes mg sine 45. Sine 45 is also 1 by root 2. So this becomes mg by root 2. This is my normal reaction, N. Now, the green equation is always for the normal reaction. So normal reaction, the green equation. From this green equation, I can find the value of normal reaction. Normal reaction is mg by root 2. No prizes for guessing this one. We have done it so many times. Now, we're trying to find the value of friction here. And we know that friction is kinetic. Now, as you can see, this block, the only force acting on this block is mg by 2. The only force acting on this block is mg by 2, which is trying to pull it downwards, and hence the direction of motion will be downwards like this. The direction of motion would be downwards. If the direction of motion is downwards, friction is kinetic, and it would be backwards because the direction of motion is forward. My Fk comes into the picture. Fk, kinetic friction. Why kinetic? Because the block is moving. Now, what is the value of kinetic friction Fk? Everyone knows that I have kinetic friction Fk. Fk is always equal to mu k multiplied by n. Mu k multiplied by n. Now look at the value of mu k. Mu k is half. And n is mg by root 2. So my Fk becomes mg by 2 root 2. That is, that is the value of kinetic friction. Am I clear? The value of kinetic friction is equal to mg by 2 root 2. Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? The value of kinetic friction is mg by 2 root 2. Oops, I've written it wrongly. Let me correct this entire thing. This question was limiting friction, so I'll write it FL. Here the value of friction is this one, is kinetic, and this is mg by 2 root 2. That takes me to the fourth question. And the fourth question is, find the value of limiting friction. Find the value of limiting friction. Now, how do I get the value of limiting friction? We all know that limiting friction FL is equal to mu s multiplied by n. Limiting friction is mu s multiplied by n. The value of mu s, as you can see, is 3 by 4. The value of mu s, as you can see, is 3 by 4. So this will be 3 by 4 multiplied by n. N is mg by root 2. So this becomes 3 by 4 root 2 mg. That becomes the value of limiting friction in this case. So limiting friction is 3 by 4 root 2 mg. Do we all understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Okay, that is limiting friction. Now, come to the next question. Does the block accelerate? Does the block accelerate? Now, to find out whether the block accelerates, the block definitely moves. Now, block definitely moves. There are only two things possible. It moves with constant velocity. It moves with acceleration. Here in this case, if you look at the force which is trying to take it downwards, the force which is trying to take it downwards is mg by root 2, which is trying to take it downwards. Which is trying to pull it upwards or stop its motion is mg by 2 root 2. They are not same. Downward is more, upward is less. Downward is more, upward is less, and therefore this block will definitely accelerate. How do I find the value of acceleration? I will make this yellow equation downwards minus upwards, yellow equation. Downward forces mg by root 2 downwards minus frictional force upwards mg by 2 root 2. That must be equal to m into a. M is the mass of the block into the acceleration of the block. This will give me the value of acceleration of the block. I know that you are good enough to calculate this value. Give me the value for acceleration of the block. How much is the acceleration of the block? I think the answer would be G by 2 root 2. And these are the different questions that I have made in this particular question. Am I clear with this concept? All the questions, we have done two different questions. In the first question, it was not moving, so it was static. In the second question, it was moving, and hence everything was in the kinetic range. Do we understand this question? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Okay, please raise your, get your hands down. Anyone who has not understood the question, please raise hand now. I think you also have a mic with you that you can use to ask any doubt that you have. I'll give you a minute. If anyone has a doubt, please use the mic and ask it.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, beta. I don't see you. Where are you? Okay, anyways, tell me.
Sir, explain me the how does the block move? Once again, sir.
Because the angle is more than the angle of the angle that this inclined plane is, it is more than the angle of repose. So block has to move.
Okay, sir.
If I make the angle more than the angle of repose, go back to the previous class. You were not present in the last class.
Yes, sir.
You were present or not?
Yes, sir. I'm getting.
Yeah, you were present, na? So in the last class, we discussed that if I keep on changing the angle, at one angle, it will start to move. If I make the angle more, it will move. Here, that angle is angle of repose. Angle of repose is 37 degrees. At 37 degrees, it will start to move. The angle of the inclined plane that I have kept is 45 degrees. 45 degrees is more than 37 degrees. It has to move. No one can stop it. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyone with any other doubts? No? Okay. Now what I'll do is I will show you some important things from your notes which you are supposed to know and note down. Okay, I think this notes is already available to you, right? This is the first case that we have done. I hope you remember or understand the case that we are doing here. I have applied a force P or F on the block. As you can see, the block is moving. This is the normal reaction N. This normal reaction N is equal to mg. Every one of us knows this. Since this block is moving and this floor is rough, frictional force will be there and it will be kinetic Fk. If P is more than Fk, if it is less than limiting friction, it will not move. We have already done that question. If it is more than limiting friction, it will move. Friction will become kinetic. How will I write the equation? The applied force P minus frictional force Fk will be equal to ma. We all know this, yes or no? From here, you can find out the acceleration. Do we understand this? Raise hands. Okay, this is the simplest possible thing that you should know. You should be able to find out. This is case number 2. We have already done this case number 2. Now here what we have done, the same question that we were doing just now. We had an inclined plane and we have kept a block on the inclined plane and the angle is more than the angle of repose. So the block will slide. Which force is trying to bring the block down? It is mg sine theta. Which force is trying to prevent it? Is Fk. Mg sine theta minus Fk will be equal to ma. My Fk is always equal to mu k multiplied by n. From here, you can find the acceleration of this block. I've already given you this equation, and I've also given you that if the surface is frictionless, A becomes G sine theta. Yes or no? Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hands? Okay. We understand this? Yes or no? Can I have some raised hand that we understand the previous case? Okay. Now this is the third case, which probably we have not done. In this case, what we have done is there's an inclined plane and there is a block kept on the inclined plane, as you can see. Now what I've done here is given the block initial force. I've pushed it upwards. Since I have pushed it upwards, it is moving upwards. Remember, different case. Here I have pushed the block upwards. Now, if I push the block upwards, mg sine theta in any case will be downwards because it is always downwards. But if I push the block upwards and the block is trying to move upwards, frictional force will be downwards. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Now, if the frictional force is downwards, even though block is moving upwards, the acceleration of the block will be downwards. The acceleration of the block will be downwards. Yes or no? Do we understand this? Block is moving upwards, but the acceleration of the block will be downwards because there is no force which is trying to pull it upwards. Only two forces are acting which are trying to pull the block downwards, and after some time the block will stop. In this case, the retardation or the acceleration downwards, why they have called it retardation? Because it is going to reduce the velocity. This retardation becomes g sine theta plus mu cos theta. Do we understand this case? Yes or no? What is the difference between this case and the previous case? In the previous case, we had kept a block on the inclined plane and the block was supposed to go down. In this case, we have given the block an initial velocity v. The block is supposed to go up, but all the forces will be acting downwards. Can I have some reason that we understand this? Please note case number 3 if you have already not noted it. Please note it. I'll give you time to note it. Have you noted this? Shall I move forward? Okay. This brings us to this particular case. Now, this is the most difficult type of problems that you would encounter. And in this set of problems, what you will have bodies kept on top of each other. Now, the simplest case here is two bodies, then you might have three bodies, four bodies, five bodies, and so on. We'll not get into those 5 and 6 and 8 bodies because it is of no use. What we have to understand is the basic principle of how these questions are done. So the next heading is motion of two bodies, one resting on the other. Please write this heading and we'll discuss some important points here. motion of two bodies resting over one another. As you can see, when a body A of mass small m is resting on a body B of mass capital M, two conditions are possible. So this is a smaller body of mass small m. You can call them M1, M2, doesn't matter. This is a larger body of mass capital M. Okay. Now, you can apply force on these two bodies in two different ways. Obviously, you can apply a force F on the upper body, body A. Then you can apply a force on the lower body, which is body B. Or you can apply force on both the bodies. See, there are infinite number of permutation and combination possible. We're just trying to figure out two basic cases. Force applied on upper body, force applied on lower body. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hands? So far, so good. Boys on the right, girls on the left. Okay. Now, what are we going to do is we'll discuss one or two of these cases, and the rest I will give you to note down so that you can remember them. Now, case number one, what we have done is we have applied force on the upper body. As you can see force F applied on the upper body. Yes or no? Okay. You applied force on the upper body. Now, let us take the simplest possible case here when there is no friction. There is no friction anywhere. There is no friction anywhere. It means there is no friction between A and B. Also, there is no friction between B and ground. Do we understand this? There is no friction anywhere. No friction anywhere. Now, if there is no friction anywhere, what will happen? I have applied a force on the upper body. There is no friction anywhere. What will happen? Simplest possible case. What will happen? First thing that will happen is the body A will move on body B with an acceleration F by M. Do we understand this? Can I have raised hands? There is no friction. The only force is F. So it will just move with an acceleration F by M. If force is at an angle, then you'll have to take that component and all that. We have just applied force horizontal. So the body A will move on the top of body B. What will happen to body B? Now remember, there is no direct force applied on body B. Body B can only move if there is any force applied on that body. But as you can see, if there is no friction, there is no force on body B. Body B does not go anywhere and it remains at rest. Acceleration of body B will be 0 because there is no friction. Force is applied only on body A, nothing on body B apart from its weight and mg and all that. That is in the vertical direction. It cannot move in the vertical direction. There is no force in the horizontal direction. The body B remains at rest. The acceleration of body A will be constant. Then you can find out how much time it will take to travel the distance L. Initial velocity is 0. Acceleration is known. V is equal to u plus at. V square is equal to u square plus 2a, and so on. Once you know the value of acceleration, you should be able to calculate velocity, distance, time, and all that. Do we understand this? Have you understood part A, B, and C of case number 1? Can I have some raise hand that we have understood this? Boys, have you understood this part? All these are already present in your notes that I have given to you already. You can write them, understand them. Right now, you must understand them. You will leave some space where you can write them. Shall I move forward? Shall I move forward? Okay. That takes us to case number 2. Now, what is this case number 2? Just apply some common sense and you will be able to understand what is case number 2. In case number 2, what we have taken, there is friction present between A and B. A is the upper block, B is the lower block. A and B, there is friction. Between B and ground, there is no friction. If I put friction over there, things will become more complicated. Now, once you're able to understand the simpler cases, you should be able to understand the more complicated ones. So I'm trying to make you understand the simplest cases. In the simplest possible case, there was no friction. Now I have brought friction between A and B. A and B. Now, if the applied force on A is less than limiting friction, if the applied force is less than limiting friction, then what will happen? Now you have to think. If the applied force is less than limiting friction, the body A will not slide on body B till the force is less than limiting friction, or this force is less than mu s into mg. If you draw the free body diagram of A, normal reaction will be equal to mg, and the value of limiting friction would be mu s into mg. So body A will not slide on body B because force is less than limiting friction. Now, if body A does not move on body B, but there is friction between body A and body B, what will happen is body B will start to move. Now, body B starting to move and body A is on the top of body B, and body A not moving with respect to body B. So what will happen? Both A and B will move together. Body A is not moving with respect to body B, but body B would be moving with respect to body A, and therefore the combined system will move together with a common acceleration with respect to ground, and that acceleration will be F divided by capital M plus small m, because A is not moving with respect to B. Why it is not moving? Because the applied force is less than limiting friction. Do we get this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Boys, girls, boys on the left, girls on the right. Do we understand this? Now, so far so good. Most of the cases that you will see in your exam will be either 1 or 2. Now comes the third case. In the third case, things become a bit more complicated. Why things become a bit more complicated? Friction is present between A and B, similar case. The applied force is greater than limiting friction. The applied force is greater than limiting friction. Then what will happen? In this condition, both the bodies will move in the same direction of the applied force, but with different acceleration. Case number 2, they were not sliding with respect to each other, they were moving together. Case number 3, they are sliding with respect to each other, and hence they are moving with respect to each other, and therefore their accelerations are different. But the good thing is, since they are moving with respect to each other, friction is kinetic. As you can see, I have circled it. Friction is kinetic. On the upper body, friction is backwards. On the lower body, friction is forward. Do you see that? Can I have raised hand that you see this? And as you can see, the body B is moving because of this frictional force. If there was no friction, body was not moving. So when someone tells you friction opposes motion, you say no, 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 no. Friction does not oppose motion. If there was no friction, body B will never move. Body B is moving without because of friction. Friction does not oppose motion. Friction only opposes relative motion. Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Now, friction is kinetic. They have made equation of block A and block B. For block A, F is forward. Kinetic friction is backwards. Acceleration will be forward. So the equation is F minus Fk is equal to m into acceleration of A. M into acceleration of A. Small m, mass of A into acceleration of A. Looking at body B, the only force is Fk. It will be accelerating forward. So Fk will be equal to mass of body B, capital M, into acceleration of body B. From here, I can find out the acceleration of body B. I can find out the acceleration of body A. They are not same. As you can see, acceleration of body A is this one, acceleration of body B is this one. Why are they having different acceleration? Because the force applied on body A is more than limiting friction, and hence they slip over each other. When they slip over each other, their accelerations are different. Do I have understanding from your end? Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Please raise your hands and let me know that you understand this. Boys understand this. What about girls at the center, girls on the right? Okay. So this was case number 3, when force was applied on the upper body. I'll give you a minute to write this. Now I can make it more complicated by putting friction between B and ground. I'm not going to discuss that case. That case, as you can see, is given in the notes. If there is friction between B and floor, you can solve it accordingly, or you can remember the results. So because there are too many cases possible, it is not possible for us to discuss.
Previous page, sir.
It is not possible for us to discuss
Good
all
morning,
those
sir.
cases, and
Sir.
hence let me complete. Please don't interrupt in between. I don't appreciate interruption in between. So we have discussed those 3 cases. Case number 4 is friction between B and floor, that you will have to do on your own. So do it on your own. Now raise your doubt. Don't raise your doubt when I'm speaking. It does not make any sense. I lose my rhythm. Okay. Now speak. Yes. Yes, beta, what is your doubt?
Sir, once show the previous page, sir.
Yes, I'll show it. See, I was talking now. If you talk in between, I get stuck. Previous case was this case, when there was friction between A and B,
Yes, sir.
and the value of force was more than limiting friction. Do we understand this, beta? Both
Yes, sir.
the blocks are moving differently. Friction is kinetic. On the upper block, F is in the forward direction. Kinetic friction is in the backward direction. F minus Fk will be equal to mass of the body into acceleration of body A. On the lower body, friction is in the forward direction. This body will also move in the forward direction. There is no force in the backward direction. So Fk will be equal to mass of body B into acceleration of body B. From there, we found out the acceleration of body B. From equation number 1 on the left hand side, as you can see, we have found out the acceleration of body A. If you can remember these results, it's very good. If you can't remember these results, I hope you have understood this. Am I clear, beta?
Yes, sir.
Great. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Shall I move again now?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyone else with a doubt? Please come. You can ask your doubts now. Okay. Now, as I said, case number 4, I have left because you might not encounter that case. There are too many cases possible, and it's not possible for us to discuss all of them. That is why I've given them in notes. You can go through them. Case number 1. In case number 1, we applied force on the upper body. Now we are going to apply force on the lower body. Do you see this, everyone? Can I have some raised hand that you see this? Force F is applied to the lower body, niche wala body. Then following four situations are possible. Following four situations are possible. Number 1, there is no friction. No friction anywhere. If there is no friction anywhere, then what will happen? If there is no friction anywhere, what will happen? Force is only applied on block B. Block B will start to move. Block A is kept on top of it. It cannot move. No force is there. Block B will slide and block A will fall down. Yes or no? Do we have understanding? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Well done. Block B will move with an acceleration F by capital M, while A will remain at rest. A will not go anywhere. No one is going to move it. That is why we say no friction, no motion. Friction does not oppose motion. Friction opposes relative motion. If there was friction, block A would have also moved, but there is no friction, so block A will fall. Block A does not move. Friction only moves it. So block A will remain at rest with respect to ground. Acceleration of block B will be F by M. Acceleration of block A will be zero, and you can find out after how much time it will fall. Yes or no? Do we understand this? Have you written this, beta? Okay. Now I have made some corrections here from the notes. So you also make the same correction in the notes, because I don't want to do it in the way it is written in the notes. Case number 2. Friction is present between A and B only, and they move together. See, as we saw in first case, either the two blocks move together, or the two blocks move separately. As in case number 2 of the previous thing, we had taken both the blocks moving together. Here also case number 2, both the blocks moving together. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hands? Do we understand this? Both the blocks move together. We will not be discussing this case in great detail. We will just write the values of answer. If both the bodies move together, then the common acceleration will be F divided by capital M plus small m. F divided by capital M plus small m. But remember, this case is only possible. This case is only possible in this condition. What is the condition? And I'm going to enhance the condition. This case is only possible that the two blocks move together. In this case, it is only possible. Look at the red block that I'm going to make. If the applied force is less than this value, because if the force becomes more and more, the niche wala block will slide and upar wala block will slide on its own. So there is a range, a maximum value of force at which blocks will move separately. Blocks will move separately at some point in time if I increase the force. So for the blocks to move together, the condition is the applied force must be less than mu s into m plus mg. Mu s into m plus mg. Did we get this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Also write one more point here, point number 2 or point number 3. The maximum acceleration which is possible, the maximum acceleration which is possible for them to move together is given by mu s multiplied by g. This is the maximum acceleration with which they can move together. So you can write this force as, this force must be less than, this force must be less than m plus m into, let me erase this, m plus m into a max. If you can see this here, I have mu s and g. This mu s into g is maximum acceleration. Do I have some reason that we understand this? So if I apply force on the lower block, and if this force is less than this value, less than this value, the blocks will move together. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? What is the third case then? What is the third case then? Again, I have made some corrections in that case. I have made some corrections in that case. I have made some correction in that case, and here it comes on your screen. If friction is present between A and B, and the applied force is greater than mu s into G into capital M plus small m. Do you understand how did I get this force from the previous case? In that case, what will happen? Both the bodies will move with different accelerations and kinetic friction will come. So if I draw the free body diagram of A, kinetic friction is forward, the block will move forwards. This will be the acceleration of block A. For block B, force applied is forward, friction is backwards. This will be the acceleration of block B. And they move together. Oh, they move separately. They can only move together if the applied force is less than mu s into capital M plus small m into G. If this force is more than this value, they cannot move together. They have to move separately. And they have different acceleration. So I have made corrections in your note. Please note down those corrections. Whatever was given in the notes were also clear, but I have decided not to teach you in that way, to teach you in this way. Am I clear with this? What is there to summarize? Let me just go back and summarize. The most important thing that we have done today is to understand what will happen when two blocks are kept on the top of each other. Two cases possible. I apply force on the upper block. Second case, I apply force on the lower block. If I apply force on the upper block, three cases are possible. No friction. Friction between A and B, and they move together. Friction between A and B, and they move separately. Do we understand this? Can I have some raised hands? Again, when I apply force on the lower block, three cases are possible. Case number one, no friction. Block B moves, block A falls down. Case number two, they move together. For them to move together, the applied force must be less than some value. What is that value? Mu s into G into capital M plus small m. And what is their common acceleration? F divided by m plus m. What is the maximum acceleration possible? Mu s into G. If the applied force becomes more than mu s into capital M plus small m into G, they have to move separately. And we have found out the acceleration. Please remember these 6 cases. 3 cases for case number 1, 3 cases for case number 2. Go back. You have time. Think about them. If you have any doubts, you can always ask them at any time. But when I'm speaking, please don't ask because I just get confused. I have a very small brain and I get confused. Okay. So that will be it for today's class. And I'll wind up the class. The notes is already there with you. I have made some correction in the notes. Please note them down. We'll see you in the next class on Monday. The paper is there on Sunday. NLM will come up till what we have discussed. What we have not discussed will not come. You know that. So wishing you all the best, and I hope to see you on Monday. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Else the class is over from my end. Take care.